Some mornings look like this, the cup gone cold on the table, messages flickering like restless birds, a to-do list that multiplies when you blink. Your body feels it before your mind names it, shoulders tightening, breath trapped high in the chest, that quiet thrum that says, I am already behind. If this is you, I see you, not as a problem to fix, but as a soul carrying more than it should, trying to make sense of the noise. What if the first mercy available to you today is not a louder shout from heaven, but a gentler structure on earth? What if order is the prayer God answers first, because order is the way blessing finds you? You are not a failure. You are flooded. When the mind is under constant demand, the nervous system shifts towards survival, stealing focus and color from the day. The brain that plans and chooses wisely needs safety and sequence to do its work. Without a frame, even simple steps tangle. That is why chaos is so exhausting. Not only because there is much to do, but because nothing has a home. The good news is disarmingly simple. Give your life a shape, and your energy will learn where to flow. The moment you offer rhythm, your breath drops lower, the clutter on the inside loosens, and clarity returns like a bird that finally trusts your open hand. There is an ancient voice that understands this, Solomon, the wise builder, who saw that foundations are not glamorous, but they are sacred. Before the house rises, the ground is leveled. Before the harvest is stored, the field is prepared. It is not punishment to prepare, it is partnership. Order does not compete with faith. Order completes faith. Think of an aqueduct laid stone by stone across a dry valley. The rain does not argue with the stones, it follows them. First, we lay the path. Then the water knows where to go. First we make space, then what we have asked for finds us. Let this be practical and holy at once. Your calendar can become an altar, your desk a small gate, your morning routine a quiet liturgy. Not rigid rules that choke your joy, but gentle rails that carry your day forward. A place for what matters most, a time for what you often neglect, a limit for what drains you. Place, time, limit, three soft pillars that hold more than you think. When you choose a home for your tasks, a moment for your priorities, and a boundary for your energy, you are not becoming less spiritual. You are making room for grace to land. If shame has haunted you for the mess, let it go now. Shame never organizes anything, it only scatters. We will walk this path with kindness. Begin by noticing your body. Unclench your jaw as if dropping a small stone into a clear pool. Let your shoulders lower by the width of a breath. Inhale slowly through the nose. Exhale even slower, as if fogging a mirror. Feel how, within seconds, your inner weather changes. Awareness is not a luxury, it is a doorway. When your body receives the signal of safety, your mind begins to see options again. And options are the raw material of wisdom. Picture this as you listen. A workbench once crowded, now opening inch by inch. A vertical line hanging still in the air, the old builder's plumb aligning the first brick. A simple floor plan where each room has a name and a rhythm. A gray sky over a field where a hand still sews. These are not just images, they are invitations. Order is not a cage, it is a channel. Rhythm is not a prison, it is a pathway. Boundaries are not walls around your life, they are doors that finally close so other doors can open. Organize yourself first. God does the rest is not a threat or a bargain, it is a mercy spoken in a sentence. You bring the structure you can. God brings the strength you don't have yet. You set the table, God fills it. You clear the channel, God sends the stream. This is not about earning favor, it is about welcoming it. There is a reason your soul longs for tidy corners, for a morning that begins the same way, for the feeling of a list that ends. Your heart was made to breathe in an ordered world, and when you restore even a little order, you come closer to the way you were designed to live. As you settle into these words, notice what stirs. Notice the room in your life that keeps spilling into every other room. Notice the one decision you postpone because it touches too many things. Notice the small habit that, if it lived again, would change the whole tone of your week. No judgment here, only light. And with light comes choice. If the thought arises, I should already be further along, let a kinder thought answer, I am starting now. Starting now is enough for God to work with. Starting now is how streams begin. So let the first act be simple. Name the place in you that aches for order. Whisper it, write it, feel it. Where is disorder blocking what you are asking God to send? Where would a small channel, faithfully kept, invite a generous current? We will not rush this. We will move in steady steps, as if walking beside a river we are also building. The stones will meet the water in time. For now, breathe, soften, and open your hands. The path is already beginning to show. Some truths do not arrive with thunder. They arrive with a soft rearranging of what is already on your table. Imagine leaning over the day you've been given and gently moving pieces until the path appears. Your nervous system relaxes when sequence appears, because the brain loves beginnings, middles, and ends. It loves knowing where a thing belongs. Neuroscience calls it load reduction. The less you must juggle at once, the more wisdom can come forward. Spiritual life calls it stewardship, the care of what is in your hands so that what is beyond your hands can find you. Hidden pain, scattered days, constant rework, low confidence in prayer. There is a quiet grief that forms when effort does not turn into fruit. You wake with resolve, but by noon you are mopping up yesterday's spill. You pray, yet feel you are praying through static, as if the signal is strong, but the receiver is crowded with other stations. In that space, a story often grows that is kind on the surface and cruel underneath. Distorted concept. If I have faith, God will fix my chaos. The cruelty is not in trusting God. The cruelty is in expecting God to bless a pattern that splits your focus and starves your breath. Faith is not the absence of structure. Faith is the courage to build a channel before the rain. Listen to the wisdom that has survived deserts and dynasties. Expectation breaker. In Proverbs, order is the channel, not the reward. Cf. Prov 24:27. Prepare your fields outside. Get your work in order. Afterward, build your house. The sequence is not a threat. It is a kindness. When the mind hears first this, then that, the body softens. Cortisol eases. The prefrontal cortex, the part of you that plans, prioritizes, and chooses, steps forward like a trusted friend saying, let's make room. Spiritual life and emotional regulation shake hands here. Sequence is the shared language. Metaphor, laying stones before rain fills the aqueduct. Hear the rhythm in it. Stone, then water. Structure, then supply. This is not a bargain. It is a design principle woven into the way reality moves. The aqueduct does not deserve the rain, it simply welcomes it. In your life, stones are small acts of order that hold more than they seem to hold. Naming roles before you name tasks, setting priorities before you spend energy, choosing where the day begins before the day begins to choose you. Practice. Weekly rule of life. Roles. 3 priorities. Daily 15-minute triage, calendar, tasks, space. When these words settle into the fabric of your week, something tender happens. Anxiety has fewer doors to enter. Decision fatigue loosens its grip. Your attention, once splintered, starts to move like a single stream. A rule of life is not a cage. It is a gentle trellis that helps your hours grow in the direction of light. Roles clarify identity. 3 priorities focus effort. A daily 15-minute triage clears the mental barnacles before they calcify. Calendar is time that tells the truth. Tasks are promises you actually intend to keep. Space is the environment that whispers either chaos or calm into your nervous system every time you look up. Notice how your body responds to even the idea of this. The shoulders lower a fraction. The breath has more room at the bottom. The heart rate spreads out its beats. This is not a trick of productivity. This is your God-designed physiology responding to coherence. The spirit often moves in peace, and peace often moves through order. When your inner weather steadies, prayer becomes less begging and more breathing. You are no longer asking for rescue every hour. You are walking with presence through hours that finally have a shape. The mind might argue that structure kills spontaneity, that planning is a way of telling God what to do. But look deeper. The plow does not tell the rain when to fall. It only cuts a furrow so the rain will linger. The lamp does not command the night. It simply refuses to let darkness write the whole script. In the same way, order does not silence God. It makes it easier to hear the whisper that was drowned by clutter. Order is not about control. It is about consent. Consent to a wiser rhythm, consent to be led. There is dignity in small beginnings repeated. When you choose 3 priorities for the week, your brain stops scanning the horizon for every possible danger. When you close your day with 15 simple minutes, calendar, tasks, space, your morning no longer begins in a sprint. You are not scolding yourself into change. You are soothing your system into capacity. Strategic repetition matters here. Small order, repeated. Small order, repeated. Small order, repeated. The pattern writes a new story in the body. I can be trusted with my hours. If shame tries to rise, I should have been doing this all along. Answer it gently. Shame scatters. Wisdom gathers. The point is not perfection. The point is a channel. What matters is not how flawlessly the stones align, but that they are placed in love and kept with patience. The fruit of this is not simply getting more done. The fruit is a clearer conscience, a steadier mood, a prayer life that feels like leaning instead of reaching. This is how grace often arrives, quietly, through a door named order. As this chapter settles, let one image remain near the surface. A dry trench laid with care, not glamorous, not loud, simply ready. The sky will do what the sky does. The aqueduct will do what the aqueduct does. And between them is you, breathing, listening, preparing a way that honors both effort and trust, both planning and surrender, both the science of a calmer brain and the mystery of a faithful God. Reflective question: where is disorder blocking what you're asking God to send? There is a kindness hidden in small beginnings that the hurried mind often overlooks, a medicine wrapped in minutes that do not look impressive, yet quietly restore dignity to the day. Think of how the body settles when a single step is chosen and finished. The pulse evens, the jaw loosens, the air feels wider inside the chest. Neuroscience recognizes this as the progress effect. Each modest completion releases a hint of reward chemistry, teaching the brain that movement is safe again, that the world is not only made of overwhelm. Spiritual life names the same truth in older language. Faithfulness in little things, faithfulness when nobody sees, faithfulness that builds a spine strong enough to carry larger gifts. Small before grand, small before grand, small before grand, the rhythm that remakes a life without violence. Hidden pain, procrastination disguised as waiting on God. The wait can be holy, and yet sometimes the wait becomes a costume the fear wears to look righteous. The doorway is right there, but it feels as if strength is required that has not yet arrived. So the soul drifts in circles that feel spiritual and sound spiritual, while a quieter truth stands patient at the edge of awareness. Distorted concept: I need motivation before action. The nervous system longs for certainty and surges of energy, yet it stabilizes through predictability and gentle exposure. One controllable step performed with kindness tells the limbic system that the tiger is not here. That breath can fall from the throat into the belly. That thought can find its edges again. In that calmer geography, choice returns. And with choice comes the first clean stitch in a torn day. Wisdom had been singing this melody for a long time. Expectation breaker. Consistency creates motivation. Prov 6:6-8. The ant does not wait for a speech, a sign, or a perfect sky. The ant moves in a cadence older than worry. Carry, place, return, carry, place, return, until the future is quietly provided for. There is nothing glamorous in the image, yet the soul relaxes when it sees it, because something deep inside recognizes the safety of rhythm. Order here is not a rigid sentence. It is a gentle drumbeat under everything else, the steady timekeeper that lets the song be a song. Metaphor, tiny grains building a winter storehouse. It sounds small because it is small, and yet winter does not argue with tiny grains. Winter bows to them. The storehouse exists because grains kept arriving, because days that felt ordinary became a structure of mercy, because the heart learned to bless the humble act and release the fantasy of dramatic rescue. In the language of the brain, reliable action wires reliable pathways. In the language of the spirit, steady choices become a liturgy of trust that heaven recognizes. Practice, ant blocks. 2 25-minute focused sprints daily. Prepare tomorrow's first task before sleep. The shape is simple, and simplicity is what the nervous system can hold when life feels heavy. 25 quiet minutes contain a surprising amount of meaning when the mind is not split in 5 directions, and the evening naming of the very next step lets the morning inherit clarity instead of chaos. This is not punishment. This is relief. The body loves knowing what comes first. Attention loves a single home. Courage loves tasks that can actually be finished. Repetition here is not dullness. It is devotion. 2 sprints, 1 named step. 2 sprints, 1 named step. 2 sprints, 1 named step. Over days, the soul begins to believe again that change is possible without violence. If old shame tries to rise, memories of promises made to the self and not kept, let a softer witness meet it. Shame accelerates the heartbeat and narrows the lens. Compassion slows the frame and widens the field. In that wider field, the smallest act becomes honorable again, and honor is fuel the heart understands. The goal is not to impress anyone, not even the future. The goal is to recover a right relationship with time, to feel the minutes as a friendly current instead of a riptide. When minutes become friendly, prayer becomes steady, because the inner world is no longer a storm you must shout over. Some days will still be grey, some hours will still be noisy, yet the ant moves, and by moving, teaches the brain to expect completion rather than catastrophe. The winter storehouse does not arrive in a weekend. It arrives in the miracle of cumulative tenderness toward the task in front of you, the task that, named the night before, greets you like a hand already extended. And when larger opportunities come, they will not scare you, because your nervous system has practiced calm under effort, and your spirit has practiced faith under clouds. Reflective question: what 15-minute habit would quietly change your next 90 days? There is a certain kind of tired that sleep does not cure, a heaviness that settles in the chest after a day of saying yes in a dozen directions and returning home with a bag full of other people's priorities. The mind calls it busyness, but the body knows a different name: misalignment, hidden pain, decision fatigue, saying yes to misaligned requests. In this fatigue, choices blur into each other. Obligations expand to fill every pocket of quiet. The heart begins to live on delay, postponing what matters because the urgent has taken the front seat again. The nervous system, designed to navigate threat and rest, cannot find either when every request looks like a rescue and every no feels like a betrayal. In that fog, even prayer can sound like static because the signal has too many competing stations. The story that often rises in this fog sounds gentle but leads us astray. Distorted concept: peace equals easy, friction equals not God. If ease were the only compass, no foundation would ever be laid, because ground resists the first shovel, and yet houses still stand. If friction were the only warning, no muscle would ever strengthen, because training burns, and yet bodies still heal. Emotional neuroscience offers a steadier map. States are information, not verdicts. Ease may mean alignment, or it may mean avoidance. Friction may mean warning, or it may signal growth on the edges of our capacity. Without a standard, moods become judges. With a standard, moods become messages. The soul longs for that standard the way a traveler longs for a star that does not move. Expectation breaker. Wisdom uses standards, not moods. Prov 11:1, 16.3. The ancient image is wonderfully plain. A plumb line still in the air, gravity making truth visible. A string, a weight. A wall that is either faithful or drifting. Metaphor. A builder checks the line before raising the wall. The builder does not despise the wall for leaning. The builder consults the line. The plumb line does not shout, it reveals. This is the posture of wise decision-making. Quiet reference to a vertical that does not change when the weather changes. A return to a measure that keeps identity and calling from tilting under the pressure of other people's urgency. Here, a simple, elegant pattern offers clarity that both spirit and nervous system can hold. Practice 3-filter test. Wisdom, is it principled? Stewardship, is it mine to carry? Peace, is it ordered, not frantic? Create a not-to-do list. The first filter, wisdom, asks whether the choice is aligned with what is true and time-tested, whether it lives comfortably within values that do not shift with the mood of the room. The second filter, stewardship, asks a question that calms the heart quickly. Even if this is good, is it mine? Many burdens feel holy until they are weighed by calling. Then they reveal themselves as assignments meant for other hands. The third filter, peace, does not confuse quiet with comfort. It discerns whether the path, while possibly demanding, carries an inner order, a cadence that does not yank the body into panic. When all three align, the body often breathes lower and the mind's lens clears. There is a biology to this. Decision fatigue is not a moral failing. It is the brain's response to too many unfiltered choices. Each unresolved maybe consumes glucose and attention, keeping the amygdala on a hair trigger and the prefrontal cortex underfed. A clear standard reduces cognitive load. Fewer choices compete. The limbic system stands down. In spiritual language, the soul regains discernment. In practical language, time returns to the clock. A not-to-do list becomes an act of reverence here, not a performance of productivity. It is not a rejection of people. It is an acceptance of limits, an agreement with design. By naming what will not be carried, the heart protects the assignments that must be carried, and love gains weight where it matters most. The fear behind boundaries often whispers that relationships will fracture and opportunities will vanish. Yet boundaries given with gentleness often deepen trust, because they make promises believable. When yes is reserved for what is principled, entrusted, and ordered, yes becomes a covenant rather than a reflex. People learn the shape of your contribution. You learn the shape of your day. The nervous system, relieved of constant ambiguity, releases its grip. The breath has more room. The inner voice grows clearer. This is not the peace of inactivity. It is the peace of coherence. Many moving parts sharing one rhythm. Sometimes the plumb line reveals a wall that has leaned for years. That sight can ache. Grief rises for the time spent in rooms that tilted, for the energy poured into projects that never had a foundation, for the self that learned to brace against angles instead of resting in alignment. Grief here is not the enemy. It is the witness that honors what has been carried. The plumb line offers no condemnation. It offers a new beginning as honest as gravity. And gravity is kind because it is consistent. You can lean on it every day and it will not change its mind. Strategic repetition matters. Return to the 3 filters the way a sailor returns to the stars. Wisdom, stewardship, peace. Wisdom, stewardship, peace. Over time, the repetition writes a new reflex into the body. The pause lengthens between request and response. The mouth does not rush ahead of the heart. The calendar stops being a chessboard where guilt and fear move the pieces and becomes a garden where planted commitments actually grow. The soul that once flinched at the word no discovers that no is sometimes the most faithful way to say yes to what God already placed in its care. In this alignment, prayer regains its dialogue. Requests are no longer panicked bargains. They become conversations about timing and fit. Gratitude sharpens because the day contains tasks that match the hand and gifts that match the body. Even rest changes tone. Rest no longer feels stolen from obligation. It feels woven into vocation. The builder sleeps because the line was checked and the day was faithful, even if the wall is not finished. This kind of rest restores because the nervous system is not arguing with itself in the dark. Reflective question: which commitments fail the plumb line today? Sometimes the exhaustion has nothing to do with the weight of your life and everything to do with its shape. Hours bleed into each other, roles bleed into each other, and by nightfall your body feels smeared across every room you entered. Hidden pain, blurred boundaries between work, family, and soul. The nervous system reads blur as threat because it cannot tell when effort ends and renewal begins. Without borders, even joy becomes a task, even rest becomes a performance. The mind calls it busy, the chest calls it tight. Spiritually, the language is older and simpler. What is holy is usually set apart, not because it deserves a pedestal, but because everything important needs a place where it can breathe. A modern myth feeds the blur with flattering words, distorted concept. Multitasking is productivity. The brain tries, kindness with itself forgotten, to hold two fires in one hand, yet attention is a single beam, not a floodlight. Switching costs are real. Each jump between roles taxes glucose and steals minutes that never return. The limbic system jolts, the prefrontal cortex dims, and the day grows noisy without producing music. Under that noise, guilt multiplies because nothing receives the full presence it deserves. The soul knows there is a better way, a way that looks less like juggling and more like arranging the furniture so the room finally works. The ancient blueprint refuses the myth with elegance. Expectation breaker. Holy spaces are zoned. 1 kx 6. Your life needs rooms. The temple did not confuse courtyard with inner sanctuary. Offerings belonged where offerings belonged. Prayer belonged where prayer belonged. And the center remained a center. Metaphor. Courtyard. Holy place. Most holy. Each with a purpose. This is not nostalgia. It is a map for nervous systems and souls. Zoned spaces cue the body to shift state. Crossing a threshold tells the heart what posture to assume, tells the breath whether to rise or fall, tells attention whether to widen for people or narrow for solitude. Boundaries here are not walls against love. They are doors love uses to arrive whole. There is a felt difference when life is zoned. The kitchen becomes a table again rather than a conference room. The bed becomes a sanctuary again, rather than an inbox. Conversation becomes a presence again, rather than a task. The brain relaxes when the environment matches the intention, because context anchors memory and habit. In neuroscience, this is state-dependent learning. In spiritual language, this is reverence embodied. The interior house stands because walls say a gentle yes and a gentle no, because thresholds carry meaning, because each room teaches the heart how to be inside it. Practice. Map 5 rooms: spirit, relationships, work, finances, health, and assign one non-negotiable rhythm to each, e.g., Sabbath guardrail, budget review, movement. The simplicity here is deliberate. A single rhythm per room gives the week a spine, a visible cadence the body can anticipate. Anticipation is not trivial, it is regulation. When the nervous system knows that renewal has an address, that money will receive honest attention, that the body will be moved and not merely used, anxiety loosens and choice returns. Rhythm is not control. Rhythm is consent to a pattern that keeps love from dissolving into hurry. There is mercy in the ordinary scene of a door closing behind you as you enter a space with one purpose. The door is not a denial of other loves. It is a promise to this one. When you honor rooms, you honor the people and tasks that live there. Presence deepens because it is not being auctioned to the highest interruption. The mind, once scattered across 3 roles, begins to feel like a single instrument tuned to a single key. Over time, the tuning holds longer, interruptions rattle you less, and even transitions become liturgies, small, repeated gestures that tell your body the scene has changed and you are safe to change with it. Some grief may surface as the plan unfolds. The grief of realizing how long sacred spaces were used as hallways or storage closets. The grief of listening to your tired body say, plainly, I needed this years ago. That grief is holy, because it honors the ache that kept you honest. Do not rush it away. Naming the loss clears a place for a new tenderness toward the hours. From that tenderness, repetition becomes devotion rather than duty. One rhythm per room, kept kindly, becomes a bell tower over the week. Soft chimes that remember you when you forget yourself. What emerges is not rigidity, but coherence. Coherence feels like a room where the light falls just right and the chair fits the body that sits in it. Coherence sounds like a voice that no longer has to shout to be heard. Coherence prays without panic because the inner world is no longer a single crowded chamber. It is a home with doors that open and close, a temple with courts that welcome, and an inner place that remains untouched by the noise outside. This is how structure becomes sacrament, matter arranged in a way that conveys grace. Reflective question. Which room is cluttering the others? There is a quiet season inside many souls where the sky never seems to clear, where the forecast always promises later, where the air is heavy with beautiful intentions that never touch the soil. Hidden pain. Delay until doors open. In that season, the body learns hesitation. The chest tightens at the thought of beginning. The mind rehearses an exquisite plan for a day that never quite arrives. Neuroscience has words for this. Uncertainty inflates threat signals, the amygdala grows watchful, executive function pauses to save energy. Yet the experience is simpler. The hands feel far from the work, and hope feels far from the hands. Spiritually, the longing is not wrong. It is the waiting that has hardened into a story that steals courage. The story says that weather makes the farmer, that sunshine makes the seed, that you must feel a wind at your back before you can take a step. An older voice interrupts that story with a steady truth. Distorted concept. When God moves, then I'll start. Expectation breaker. So though the winds aren't ideal. Eccle 11:4-6. The text is sober. It does not romanticize clouds or deny risk. It simply refuses to let the sky be the master of the heart. The wisdom is elemental. If everything must be perfect, nothing will begin. If everything must be certain, nothing will grow. The nervous system, mercifully, can be retrained to tolerate beginnings without guarantees. Small action reduces ambient fear. Partial progress calms the limbic system. Attention returns to the next faithful step, rather than orbiting the horizon for a better omen. Metaphor, farmer planting under a grey sky. See the image in your ribs, not just in your mind. The field is quiet. The light is flat. The air smells like iron. The farmer's hand still opens. Grain falls like soft punctuation into the furrows. No audience, no trumpet, only rhythm. Reach, release, cover, move. What makes the image sacred is not denial of weather. It is consent to purpose. The grey is not asked to brighten. It is honored as the day that is. There is a physiology to this consent. When you enact a purpose in the presence of uncertainty, the body learns that not knowing is survivable. Dopamine begins to reward process rather than prediction. Courage stops being a mood and becomes a muscle. Practice. 90-day sowing plan. Name 3 seeds. Skill, relationship, project. Schedule weekly touches and track seeds, roots, fruit. The power of this shape is that it respects both how growth really happens and how the brain really works. 3 seeds keep ambition honest and attention focused. Weekly touches honor the biology of momentum. Repetition engraves pathways. The task feels familiar by week 3 and friendly by week 6. Tracking the arc, seeds, roots, fruit, teaches the soul to notice hidden progress. Roots are not applause. Roots are the quiet evidence that the unseen is working. Fruit is beautiful, but roots are what let you sleep at night, because they prove that effort is not empty and delay is not death. There is tenderness in letting your life be agricultural again. The field does not ask for perfection, it asks for presence. The seed does not demand a forecast, it asks for a hand. Even setbacks become part of the liturgy. A week when you miss a touch is not a verdict, it is weather. The plan is not a contract meant to punish, it is a trellis that holds the vine when wind would have its way. Strategic repetition belongs here too. Reach, release, cover, move. Seeds, roots, fruit. Seeds, roots, fruit. The phrases themselves carry calm, and calm is the doorway through which steadiness enters. Emotional life softens under this rhythm. Anxiety loses a few of its sharp teeth, because beginnings no longer depend on perfect skies, because progress is measured in honest touches rather than dramatic leaps. Prayer changes timbre as well. It becomes less about asking the world to rearrange itself for your courage, and more about aligning your courage with the world as it is. Organize yourself first. God does the rest, finds a deeper register here. The order you bring is not a set of iron rules, but a patient commitment to keep the seeds in motion, to keep faith in circulation, to keep purpose embodied even when the horizon is undecided. Sometimes grief rises when this chapter lands. Grief for long springs that never turned into summers, for callings planted in notebooks but not in earth, for doors waited on that were perhaps never yours to walk through. Grief is allowed to stand in the field. It does not rot the grain. It often becomes water for the next row, softening the soil of a hard perfectionism, making it easier for the hand to open without demanding a guarantee. The soul that has wept there is often the soul that can be gentle with slow miracles. The soul that will not rip up the ground to check for roots, the soul that lets time be time. What emerges is a paradox that feels like peace. You begin in weather that is not ideal, and by beginning, you discover that weather is not sovereign over meaning. You sow while the sky is undecided, and by sowing, you become a person who is not undecided. In that becoming, your nervous system learns to rest inside effort. Your spirit learns to hear guidance in the middle of ordinary motions, and your days begin to carry a new weight. Not heavy, but real, as if gravity finally became a friend. It is not magic, it is mercy. Practiced until it becomes instinct. Practiced until the gray sky looks less like a warning and more like a canvas where faith paints its first color. Reflective question. What seed must be planted this week despite the weather? A single week can become a gentle room where the new rhythm learns your name. Picture 7 days arranged like small stones along a stream, each one carrying a piece of the order you have been longing for. The first stone holds a quiet sketch of life as it truly is. Roles named without performance, priorities chosen without apology. When roles are clear, the chest loosens. When priorities are few, the mind stops scanning the horizon for everything at once. In that loosening, breath falls lower and the day greets you with fewer edges. Another stone carries 2 brief windows where focus becomes a shelter. 25 minutes, then 25 again. Not as punishment, but as kindness to attention. The body recognizes the safety of a finish line that is near enough to touch. Completion, even in miniature, teaches the nervous system to expect progress rather than threat. Small before grand. Small before grand. This becomes the hum beneath the hour. A third stone bears a line that does not move. Wisdom, stewardship, peace, the plumb that steadies yes and no. Choices pass through it like light through clean glass. What is principled shines, what is assigned to other hands returns to other hands. What is ordered carries a quieter peace, even if it asks for strength. The list of what will not be carried lies beside the list of what will be honored. and the heart feels the difference immediately. Relief is a holy feeling when it is earned by alignment. Another stone opens into rooms that breathe. Spirit, relationships, work, finances, health. 5 spaces, each with one rhythm that fits like a good chair. A Sabbath that is guarded rather than argued with. A review that tells the truth about money without shaming the soul. Movement that feels like care rather than debt. When rooms have names, presence deepens. When rhythms repeat, the body remembers. Rhythm is not control. Rhythm is consent to grace arriving on time. One more stone sinks its weight into the soil of becoming. 3 seeds chosen with tenderness. A skill that wants tending, a relationship that wants warmth, a project that wants earth. Each receives a weekly touch, small and honest, so the unseen can thicken into roots. Seeds, roots, fruit, said softly enough times, the phrase becomes medicine. Roots bring sleep because they prove that waiting is full of work you cannot always see. Across the week, a brief evening moment tidies the thresholds. Calendar glanced at like a friendly map. Tasks gathered so they no longer whisper from dark corners. The physical space cleared just enough to speak calm to the senses. The body loves these doorways. The mind loves them. Prayer loves them. Where there was static, conversation returns. Nothing here demands perfection. Missed beats become weather, not verdicts. The mercy lies in returning without drama, in letting repetition braid itself into trust. Small order repeated, small order repeated, small order repeated. Over days, the tone of the heart changes key. Less pleading, more partnership. Less panic, more presence. The week becomes a trellis. The trellis holds the vine, and the vine, unafraid of the wind, begins to climb. There is a moment after the noise thins and the room grows still, when the pattern of your life becomes visible, the way a river becomes visible from high ground. From here, the little turns make sense. The stones you placed begin to look like a path. The scattered minutes gather into a line that carries water. The workbench is no longer a pile of tasks. It is a place of shaping. The plumb line no longer accuses, it steadies. The rooms of the inner house no longer compete, they converse. And the grey field, once a reason to hesitate, looks like a faithful canvas for seed. In the quiet, the sentence that has held this journey speaks more softly and more truly. Organize yourself first. God does the rest. There is no violence in this sentence when it reaches the heart in the right order. The order you bring is not a demand, it is an offering. The rest God brings is not a reward. It is a response woven into the design of things. The aqueduct does not force the rain, it welcomes it. The rain does not measure the stones, it finds them. When the nervous system feels this harmony, shoulders lower, breath deepens, the mind stops chasing every horizon and comes home to the hour it has been given. The spiritual life and the emotional life shake hands here. The soul receives what the body can hold, and the body holds more when life has a shape. Solomon's wisdom sounds almost domestic when heard this way. Almost like the quiet competence of a builder who does not need applause to keep laying bricks. Prepare your fields, then build your house. Honest weights and measures. Seasons that honor sowing and harvest. These are not grand slogans. They are humble guides for days that were always meant to become years with integrity. Integrity, in the deepest sense, is not moral performance. It is wholeness. It is parts that fit. It is rooms that know their names. It is decisions that echo values even when no one is listening. What changes over time is the music of your interior. Panic no longer conducts the orchestra, peace does. Peace here is not the absence of effort, it is the presence of coherence. The calendar becomes a friend that tells the truth. The ground of your attention stops trembling. Prayer shifts from pleading to partnership, from rescue to companionship. Gratitude grows teeth. It is no longer a list you try to feel, but a weight you can sense in the body when the day aligns with the person you were made to become. Even fatigue changes texture. Tired becomes clean when it comes from work that matched your calling and was carried within your limits. There is room for grief in this piece. Grief for the seasons when you were bent like a wall that no one measured. Grief for the years when rooms went unnamed and everything spilled into everything until nothing felt sacred. Grief for seeds that stayed in notebooks and never learned the feel of earth. This grief is not a step backward. It is the river, acknowledging the rocks it had to learn to move around. It is the temple remembering the scaffolding that held until the structure could stand. When grief is allowed to finish its sentence, hope answers with a new one, and the two together sound like depth. Strategic repetition becomes a kind of devotion in this conclusion. Stones, then water, small before grand, wisdom, stewardship, peace, rooms and rhythms, seeds, roots, fruit. The words themselves begin to carry a quiet authority, not because they are magic, but because they are true enough to survive ordinary days. Ordinary is where our lives really are. Ordinary is where the nervous system learns trust. Ordinary is where God's presence feels less like a rare visitation and more like the air you keep forgetting you are already breathing. From this height, the world below has not changed its weather, but you have changed your shape. The same sky meets a different riverbed. The same requests meet a different plumb. The same calendar meets a different house. This is what order does when it is offered without shame and kept with tenderness. It turns life into a vessel that can receive what it has asked for without spilling. And what you asked for was never merely more. It was meaning. It was peace with your hours. It was love that arrives whole because it was not divided by hurry on the way. So the blessing does not shout as it enters. It moves along the lines you have drawn with patience. It lingers where you have made a room for it. It thickens unseen, like roots do. And one morning you notice fruit that does not feel like an accident. You notice conversations that do not end in apology. You notice a body that rests because it trusts the day that waits for it. You notice prayer that rises even in small tasks because the small has become sacred again. Let the final image be simple. A channel you laid with care, a sky generous in its own time, and you, no longer fighting the weather, no longer scattering your strength, standing beside the quiet movement you and God made together. If order is your offering, what blessing is already looking for a channel through you?